Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 427 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for joining me, whether you're watching live or you are watching the recording. If you are watching live, please can you cross all your fingers and toes and hope that we're going to have a little bit more luck with the tech side of things than we did yesterday. This video actually was supposed to have been broadcast yesterday, but after the fun and games that I had with another video that I broadcast, I thought I'd better just cut my losses and let YouTube sort out whatever glitches it had and try again today. So let us hope this works. First comment today goes to Ty, who says, "Good evening. I think this will be an interesting watch." So do I, actually. I'm very, very curious to find out what these are going to be like. Luke is here as well, saying hello, Persolaise. Joanna is here too, saying good evening. Smarks is saying fingers crossed. Thank you very much. Raucous is here too. So is Oris Eros, saying good morning from Portland. I'm wearing Moth and a Rabbit, the Lobster today. That's not one perfume, is it? Anyway, Power Connection 1 says, hello, Mr. P. Gave my dogs their bones, so they'll be occupied. Now my full attention is yours. I'm so grateful. And also bon appetit to your dogs. Best of luck this time, says Tom. Yes. So the plan for today is to do this review showcase that I was planning to do yesterday, but then also by way of a kind of compensation, and because hopefully I will have a little bit of time at the end of this video, we'll come back with another one where we will be looking at a classic that is celebrating a very, very big anniversary this year, but let's save that one for later. And Ty, I'm glad somebody noticed. Ty says, I love how you've put on the same outfit to make it look as though you filmed it yesterday. Well, I'll tell you what it was. It was because I'd already taken the picture for the thumbnail yesterday, and I thought I don't have the time to try sorting out something else to wear and to take another thumbnail. So yes, you are getting shock horror Persolaise in the same outfit for 2 days in a row. I'm not sure that's ever happened in a video before, but thank you very much for noticing. We need to get a move on because we have got 8 perfumes to smell in this episode. So yes, obviously, I'm telling you now that I'm not going to be able to do a fully comprehensive, in-depth review of all 8 of these, but that's what we do in these showcase episodes, is that we try to give you something in between a comprehensive review and an initial impression. The brand in question is Headspace, which I believe appeared on the market in 2022. It was founded by Nicolas Chabot, who is a perfume lover and entrepreneur, I think we can say, who was responsible for reviving Le Galion a few years ago. And then I think he also set up another brand called Ether. And I believe this is his latest baby. Gavin is saying, is that an impression of a bottle or a picture? I can't work it out. No, this is a photo. I can see that it's far more effective on the screen in terms of the 3D effect than it is here in real life. No, it is just an image of the bottle, an image of their bottle, actually. It was one of you, and apologies, I can't remember who it was. It was one of you who put me onto this brand because you reckoned that I would find their latest release interesting. The latest one is called Kirsch, as in the liqueur, the alcoholic beverage, and it's by Paul Garlin. And so I sent off for these samples, and you get all 8 of their samples in a discovery set. Actually, the discovery set was made to house 7 samples, and so you get Kirsch as an extra. And so I don't have any press material. The brand probably don't even know that I'm doing this video. But I've been trying to work out how these scents work, as in what the kind of the creative line or the creative thinking is behind them. So they do partially take their inspiration from Headspace technology. And for those of you who don't know, Headspace technology, they have a neat definition of it here somewhere, but I can't find it now. Is it on this leaflet? Anyway, Headspace technology. I've talked about Headspace technology before. It was basically something that was developed a few decades ago. And to put it in a very, very, very simplistic way, and apologies to people who actually use this technology and know lots about it. I know that what I'm expressing now is really, really oversimplifying it, but it's in some senses like a microphone for smells, and you can, place it in the location, in the situation where you want to record the smells that are there. And then it literally just kind of, so if you placed it next to a banana, it would kind of suck in, if you like this. I'm really, really sorry. This is just so grossly oversimplified, but it's to give you the idea. It would suck in the smell of the banana, and then it would say, yes, so smell of banana is basically composed of this, 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 and this. And so the idea is then that the perfumer could go back to their lab and compose, using those ingredients, the smell of the banana. I've really, really oversimplified the method there, and I've also oversimplified what happens in the end, because it isn't as simple as just getting a recipe. The recipe, the ingredients list that is produced by the technology is kind of a starting point. The perfumer then uses their knowledge and their experience to go, oh, okay, I can see, that if I do such and such and such, I'll be able to recreate this aspect of the banana, but now I need to use my own know-how to think that actually perhaps I need to bring this, that, and the other in order to make the smell of the banana more realistic. Pradeep says Diptyque used it for their 34 Boulevard Saint-Germain collection. It's used a lot. It's used a lot. And also, I think it needs to be said that it isn't as simple as just like waving this microphone around. You actually have to put it in a sort of bell jar, so that you're kind of containing as much of the air around it as possible. So anyway, there's your little history lesson, your little techie lesson. And if anybody out there feels that they could actually describe it better than I have, or if I have said something that isn't strictly accurate, please, 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 absolutely do not hesitate. Feel free to leave a comment below and explain it better. And I do mean that genuinely. That's not me being, for once, I'm not being passive aggressive. Is it like a portable gas chromatograph, says Ricardo? Well, except it doesn't kind of give that reading out. It's more like the kind of input of the gas chromatograph, if you like, and it's meant to be open to lots of different inputs. So you could literally just put it there, put whatever it is that you want to get the smell of, like parsley or celery, and then cover it up and leave it for quite some time, and this absorbent material hopefully then has sucked in the smells. So I think that the way this brand works is that in every single one of these perfumes, there is a material that has been derived through Headspace technology. But some of the things that they have tried to get the headspace of are somewhat unusual. And so they take the headspace material that they've got and they link it up with a natural. At least that's what they say, to try and come up with what they hope, I suppose, is an unusual perfume. So if I just read you a tiny little bit from their website, and they also point out, so as they say, Headspace refers to a technique developed in the 70s aimed at capturing the scent of a raw ingredient in the very same place it is found and carefully reconstructing its fragrance. But they're also playing on the idea that your headspace is the space inside your head. They call it the mental space of the imaginary. And I think what they're trying to go for here is this intersection between really capturing, the actual smell of something and the realms of the imagination. Is this how they make dupes, says Smarks? Shall we save that one? Because that would be more to do with the gas chromatograph, which is related, but not exactly the same. So this is from their website. Pick the exquisite flower of memory, capture the scent of the unseen, capture the delicate smell of first times. The perfumer has dreamed of it as the poet did before him, succeeding by dint of determination to capture the elusive, fragile emotion of the moment. Assisted by science, the most talented perfumers have achieved what seemed impossible: to enter the remote regions of the psyche, the headspace, and ignite the trace of a moment of life that nothing will ever erase, a headspace of pure emotion. The Headspace collection, it goes on to say, offers a selection of moments of life captured, trapped, encapsulated, out of time, conveying an impactful and poetic imagery, moments of universality named simply by the raw material that transcends them. I'm not sure I know what I mean. Conveying an impactful and poetic imagery, moments of universality named simply by the raw material that transcends them. Let's leave that one. The natural raw materials are carefully selected, harvested, and processed by hand, big claim to make, to preserve all their olfactory qualities and combined with a Headspace extract to create a perfume never before seen in haute parfumerie. If modern perfumery results from the marriage between natural and synthetic raw materials, Headspace grants a generous naturalness to its fragrances through the prism of an emblematic and sometimes unexpected emblematic, comma, full stop. Somebody needs to check that website. But I think you kind of know what they're going for here. Gavin says, transcends poetic universality. I only need duality for a bingo. Well, let's let's say Christopher Nolan Batman, and that can count as your duality. Okay, we do need to smell them, and as I say, they've all been made by perfumers that you've all heard of. 7 of them came out in 2022, and then Kirsch came out in 2023, unless I am mistaken. Rachel says, honestly, I find the mission of the brand clunky and awkward, trying to wed too many ideas. I don't blame you for thinking that, but with all of these things, I kind of sometimes get over conceptualized as well, because I think yes, this is all brilliant. You've come up with this great idea. What are the perfumes like? And I think we should smell them. So let's start with the Absinthe, for no particular reason. I have pre-dipped blotters as well, not pre-sprayed, because these aren't sprays. Although in your discovery set, if you should be so inclined to get one, you do get a spray that you can just screw onto the top of any one of these. We need to be quick, right? Because I'm determined to get through 8 of these. The attention to rhetoric on this channel is unparalleled, says Oris Eros. Is that a good thing? I don't know. Right, so Absinthe is by... Oh no, and now, of course, I find all of the definitions of Headspace and everything here. Never mind. Absinthe is by Nicolas Chabot, who has done 2 of them. Okay, so let's try the Absinthe. Okay. Pleasant, to start off with, I'm thinking this could turn into a very, very pleasant, attractive, masculine leaning type fougere. At the moment, the first point of reference that I've got in my head is the original Lolita Lempicka for men. Do you remember that one, which had a nice kind of fennelly, aniseedy type smell to it? What they say about it is a head-turning scent of euphoria, aromatic leather bursts with wormwood, the plant of madness, the adrenaline of the body, and the chemistry of the skin are echoed in the feverish heat of Narcissus, the patchouli heart, and a supple, addictive leather accord. Okay. And the headspace is meant to be of bodies in motion. So make of that what you will. I'm not quite sure how you capture the headspace of bodies in motion, but maybe one day we might get the gentleman in question on this channel for an interview and he will tell us. Let's do the pre-dipped ones later. Let's do first impressions first, right? It's coming across as being really quite simple and maybe also actually simplistic. Very, very kind of clean and monodimensional. Okay, what's the other Nicolas Chabot? Because we ought to smell that one as well. His other one is Tubereuse Headspace. Okay. I wonder, have any of you, at least one of you has tried these, because you told me to get the samples, right? You need to entertain me with some good comments while we're doing all of these. So, Tubereuse Headspace. Okay. Oh, of course it's a good thing. This is going back to the rhetoric thing. Well, I'm glad. I wasn't sure. Right. Oh, I like the Myrrhe, says Rachel. Okay, so you have tried them. Right. And so what are we meant to get from the tuberose? The Headspace here is smoke on blazing skin. Smoke on blazing skin. Poor person. I hope after they did the Headspace, they put the fire out. So the smell of third degree burns, in other words. Okay, let's... right. Definite tuberose there. Toned down. So, you know, this isn't the kind of grand, buxom hugeness of carnal flower, certainly not of fracas or anything along those lines. So what is it that makes it tuberosy? I suppose it would be something that's slightly coconutty, something slightly banana-y, and then kind of indolically greenly floral. But again, it's kind of super clean and restrained. What do they say about it? An unforgettable sigh of sensuality, fluorescent tuberose, this is not fluorescent, at least not so far, divulges its nighttime secrets on a bed of cold tobacco, galbanum, and vanilla. An olfactory firework to enthrall hearts and bodies. And as I say, the Headspace is meant to be smoke on blazing skin. Gavin says, tuberose, you don't want to stick Vicks on those burns. Yeah, I mean, perfectly fine, but I find sometimes with a lot of these sort of brands that come out with 7 scents, you think, are you just trying to capture people through your concept rather than through doing something different with the actual perfumes themselves? They're all clean, says Rachel. I find perhaps the material in a clean... Sorry, they're all clean. I find perhaps the material in a clean lab setting. Yeah, maybe. Let's do 2 more and then we'll do pre-dipped blotters. So we've done the absinthe, we've done the tuberose. Let's do Sauge, which I'm pretty sure is sage, isn't it? Now that's done by Caroline Dumour. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. M says, it sounds like they're just going for some out-of-the-box marketing. The thing is, Nicolas Chabot is a very, very, very clever guy, and he's probably done his research and worked out that maybe there's a gap in the market for this sort of thing. So this is meant to be... The Headspace here is meant to be nature just after the storm. Make of that what you will. Okay. Ooh. So this makes me think of quite mainstreamy sorts of perfumes that tell you they have a herbal note, but actually don't quite convince because they come across as quite crass and overly synthetic. I don't know why, but the very first thing that came into my head when I smelled this was Versace Eros. Not my favorite perfume in the world. What do they say? The spirit of a herbaceous journey. I mean, herbs are so hard done by in mainstream perfumery, aren't they? Alternating between fresh and fiery. This Fern 3.0, ooh, that's an oversell. Bursts with sage and spices, incensed with angelica and free-spirited wood, the thoughtful transpiration of nature. That's doing a lot of work. I mean, some people might like this kind of thing, but when things that are... I guess, because the smell of herbs obviously isn't always gentle, particularly sage. Sage is not a gentle herb, but it's so complex that it's never off-putting, and I'm not sure that that has captured the complexity of sage. Let's do the Santal, which is by Julien Rasquinet. Yeah, what's that going to be like? Let's see. Incensed with Angelica, Eric. Yeah, I'm glad somebody picked up on that. Content writing at its finest, says Christina, doing the hard work. Yep, I tend to agree. Let's see. Just by Angélique sur la pluie, says Gavin. This is not like that. I mean, I'm not a fan of Angélique, as you know, but at least, yeah, the Angelica note in that is not off-putting. Pradeep says Santal was more like a rose oud, I thought. Okay. Let's find out. The headspace here is meant to be of a vintage champagne. So what? Okay, but it hasn't gone off. Okay, so maybe they've just popped the cork. Oh gosh, that's surprisingly sweet. Did I label this? Yes. It's it starts off really quite sickly sweet, but you can already get those synthetic-y, overly smoky sandalwoods coming through in the base. Gavin says, I find the idea of headspace for the named ingredients bizarre. No, I don't quite get the connection either. What do they say about this one? Sparkling fervour, bright, unruly waves of red fruits meet a zesty breeze of saffron. A zesty breeze of saffron, okay. Which gives the blend wings and the warm waft of sandalwood. Waft is an unfortunate word in this situation. Acts as a protective shield against the blows of fate. An effortless, ethereal perfume, a perfume of aspirational revelry. What on earth does that actually... You know, with some of these where you think, okay, I don't know what it means, you can kind of maybe work out what it is that they were going for. But what is that even trying to mean? Let's go again. I'm guessing, I'm hoping it makes more sense in French. Bright, unruly waves of red fruits meet a zesty breeze of saffron, which gives the blend wings, and the warm waft of sandalwood acts as a protective shield against the blows of fate. An effortless, ethereal perfume, a perfume of aspirational revelry. Aspirational revelry sounds like a party from hell. It sounds like just the sort of revelry that I do not want to have anything to do with, and that I probably wouldn't be invited to anyway. Oriana says, sounds like it was not written by the person who developed the fragrances. That is a very, very good point. Yeah, let's smell it again. Most of my revelry is aspirational these days. Well, that's another way of looking at it. Yes, probably so is a networking event that got out of hand. Yeah, maybe. Sorry, don't make me shake the whole setup too much. But okay, but also surprisingly sweet. Right. As we're at the halfway mark of this, Ricardo says it's 8 a.m. and I'm alone in my house laughing out loud, listening to you puzzle your way through these descriptions. Well, at least we're achieving something, right? If we're bringing a little bit of laughter into the world, then there is a point to these videos. So we started with the absinthe. So let's see what the absinthe is like sort of 2 hours after being dipped. Just kind of vaguely, thinly, herbally. You know, the other thing that we need to mention as well is that for 100 mils, these are, I believe, just under 200 euros for 100 mils. And I think I would want something more complex and more interesting and more compelling. £195 when I looked, says Gavin. Okay, there you go. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for something that seems to actually be trying, you know, to be quite simple. There's nothing wrong with simple monodimensional perfumes, I suppose, if that's what you want. They're not particularly what I want. But I think they'd also have to be a bit more interesting than this. So the absinthe, yes, like I said, just kind of, you know, vaguely herbal. Then we did the tuberose, didn't we? So where's the pre-dipped tuberose? What's that one doing now? It actually, you know, to give it its due, it doesn't smell anywhere near as artificial and synthetic as a lot of sort of mainstream tuberoses out there, but it's quite shy, and again quite monodimensional. Then we did the Sage, didn't we? No, the Sage I am not a fan of. Yeah, put that one away. And it's just really kind of stomach turning unpleasant. And the Santal, let's see what that's doing. Okay, the sweetness is gone, and it's a kind of ciprioli sort of burnt, smoky feel. You know, shades of Amouage Interlude Man. But this is like maybe 100th of the interestingness value of the Amouage, and a kind of fakey synthetic sandalwood. Okay, so we're not doing very well so far, are we? Let's do the remaining 4. Let's go Myrrhe, which is also by Julien Rasquinet. 200 euros, says Oriana, for an uninspired Cologne synthetic. I guess you're paying for the ghostwriters. Maybe. Well, do you know what? I hope they got paid well. Marcus says that attention to rhetoric, our host's sensitively articulate, attuned, and unassuming verbal capacity and expression is what has kept me here, a bit unexpectedly wrapped in a word, his headspace. Oh, well, that's very, very nice. You don't want to be getting into my headspace, I can assure you. Myrrhe sounds good, maybe, says Mysterious Man. Eric says, I don't wish ill on any brand, but I'm ready for fewer lines and releases. Oh, I know. So say all of us, I think. We don't need new brands. We need better brands. We need interesting brands. Oh, I know you've smelled incredible myrrhe, says Rachel. As in what? In well, yes, I have smelled very good. I've forgotten what you were referring to. Anyway, so this is the myrrhe. The headspace for this one is a rock on the seashore. Okay. Sorry, that was genuine. Like, what? This is myrrhe. This is starting off like. Okay, so I guess, okay, a rock on the seashore. So what they're going for here actually maybe is brightness. It's quite dazzling. It's quite dazzling to me, just based on this sniff. It's kind of like, you know, Dracar Noir dihydromercenol type territory. There's a weird opening, says Rachel. Yes, well, yeah, I know. Quite kind of bright, citrusy, woody. What do they say? What do they say? Mineral sun, the spicy spark of sun-bathed cinnamon and desert myrrhe suddenly warm the natural raw mineral aromas embodied in the clarity of incense, cedar, and ambroxan, subtly sophisticated, a mineral woody fragrance, an organic meeting of opposites. I thank you. Similar to Acqua di Gio, says Mr. No, I seem to remember that was cleaner. I need to resmell that. Maybe we need to do a video on that. It's okay. It's pleasant, but if I were to reach for this, thinking this is what I don't understand with some of these names. You know, wouldn't somebody be disappointed if they smelt this, wanting, you know, something that is really, really myrrhe-like? We'll see what the pre-sprayed one is. Let's then go to the Styrax, which is by Miroslav Petkov. Styrax, of course, not a million miles away from benzoin. You know, names do create expectations in your head, and you need to be careful with how you subvert those. I ended up liking it, says Rachel. What is that? The myrrhe smells like Catholic cola, says Christian. But which one? Which one are you talking about? Okay, so let's try the Styrax. Now you're talking about cabbage, and I don't know where we're at with this conversation. Oh yes, the myrrhe. Rachel likes the myrrhe. Okay, Styrax is meant to have the headspace of a galloping stallion. Hopefully, you didn't have to tie him down for too long. This one immediately hits me over the head with a synthetic sandalwood. you know, things along the lines of Ebanol and Javanol, like a very, very quiet, faint Black Afghano from Nasamato. And Eric says, I wonder how many entry-level perfume consumers want a Myrrhe scent, to be honest. Well, yes, but then that's another reason for questioning why you'd call it Myrrhe. I don't know. It would be interesting. I genuinely would like to find out more about the raison d'etre here and the thinking. Styrax is for me, says Dushan. Do you mean generally Styrax or this Styrax? Towards the horizon, says the blurb. Taking the reins, conquer time, conquer yourself, grasping the mane, labdanum and amber, conjuring the image of a polished saddle, warmed against the body of a steed, unite with the leather and apricot notes of Styrax and Osmanthus, in a tribute to skin in all kingdoms, plant, animal, and human, warm and radiant. Okay, that's doing a lot of work there as well. Yeah, to me, again, very, very, very simple, very monodimensional synthetic sandalwood. Okay, 2 to go. Well, we'll save the Kirsch as it's the most recent one. And last we have Genievre, which that's juniper, right? And this is by Fanny Ball. I think Fanny Ball is a really, really interesting perfumer. I think she will become more and more of a household name. I know that Frederick Mal has appreciated working with her because he reckons that she actually works like a lot of older perfumers and has a sort of similar style and similar approach. I believe she may have been taught by Dominique Ropion, but I may be wrong. Somebody please tell me if Genièvre means juniper, because I'm expecting juniper now. But if it doesn't, I think I can see the word juniper. Oh yes, and the headspace is meant to be of an azure gin. So it's the headspace of gin. Okay, so this is juniper. Okay, we're getting a bit of juniper, we're getting a bit of gin. So finally, we've got a little bit of literalism. It's slightly lemony, woody. This one's quite interesting, actually. I find this one quite, because I think gin does lend itself to something that is quite clean and distilled, somehow bright without being noisy. Got a touch of, like, you know, lemon peel in it. Got a touch of something woody. Lots and lots of people love Juniper Sling, don't they, from Penhaligon's, which I think is interesting. It's never been one of my favorite Penhaligons. But this, it'll be interesting to see how the pre-dipped blotter is doing on that one. So they say, a refreshing sip of relaxation on the verge between delectable What? Let's try that again. A refreshing sip of relaxation on the verge between delectable relaxation and mild inebriation. This fragrant alcohol scent opens with a slightly bitter note of juniper berry, together with pink pepper, mandarin, and cedar, a spontaneous, chilled splash. Okay. And Gavin says, I googled, Fanny Ball was mentored by Ropion. Thank you very much. I thought she may have been. Does it remind you of Voyage by Hermès, says Angeline. Hello, Angeline, by the way. Kind of. But Voyage, I think, is more interesting. There's a lot more tension in Voyage. I think this is the thing that I'm struck by so far. None of these feel as though they've got a kind of unresolved, where you're kind of thinking, where's this going to go? Where's this going to go? And so let us finish with the Paul Garlin, the reason why I got this set. Wouldn't it be great if you could, send them back and say, can I have my money back now, please? Because actually, I'm not particularly impressed with these. Never mind. They're all good. They're all good for reference. So Kirsch, the Kirsch Headspace. Kirsch is not a beverage of which I partake very often. I suppose the closest I come to Kirsch is when I have Black Forest cake. And personally, I kind of prefer Black Forest without the Kirsch, but never mind. I know it is sacrilegious to say that. I think that may have a lot to do with the fact that the Black Forest that I was brought up on when you used to have it didn't have any alcohol in it. But anyway, this is the Kirsch. And I don't have a blurb for this one. At least I don't think I do. Do I have anything here? No. So don't worry. You're gonna be spared unless. Oh, I suppose I could just go on the website. Why should we be spared the final blurb? Anyway. Okay, I suppose it's got that kind of sharp stroke sweet cherry feel. It's interesting. I mean, it is interesting. It's probably the most interesting opening so far. Kirsch, the headspace of the Kirsch is meant to be what? It's meant to be a headspace I can't find out yet. Where are we? The headspace of a traditional sake. Okay, so you've done Kirsch and you've gone for sake. Maybe I'm just being ignorant here, but is there a connection between Kirsch and sake? I mean, sake is rice, right? Okay, seduction is a skill, attraction, and instinct. The decor is in place, a wooden table, leather stools, a few irises to decorate, and temptingly plump cherries alternating between gallant delicacy and implicit animality. Elegance obliges, serve the other first, a nod to the ceremonial tradition of sake and Kirsch, a toast to good fortune, renewal, and the infinite possibilities of late evening, getting to know each other and devouring each other at the same time. Enjoy the present with passion and gratitude. Invite or acquiesce. Yes, yes, yes. A luscious liqueur-like cherry melts into the powdery iridescent meanders of sake. Saffron unfurls its leathery facets, extending into a firm, comfortable suede accord. Wood and moss add a woody patina. And somebody said maybe the sake is meant to make us think of Japan, which is meant to make us think of cherry blossom, which brings us back to Kirsch, which is very astute of you. I don't think I would have made that connection. Again, quite simple. Okay, so let's smell the last four pre-dipped ones. So we had Myrrhe. Where is the pre-dipped Myrrhe? No, the Myrrhe is really, really quite quiet and, yeah, still doing that kind of Drakkar Noir wannabe type thing. The Styrax, what's the Styrax doing? Yeah, Styrax to me is still in overly synthetic sandalwood territory. The Juniper, now the Juniper is the one that I thought was the most interesting, right? And yes, it's still doing that thing really quite well. I suppose the Juniper, I would say, might be the one that I wouldn't mind having if I wanted something that's kind of cologne-like, but not in an overly citrusy way. It's reminding me of Thierry Vasso's Cologne du Parfumeur for Guerlain. But not especially interesting, I suppose. And where is the Kirsch, the pre-dipped Kirsch? What's that doing now? It's not terrible. It's a kind of woody, vaguely sweet. Nothing. Gavin says, what's the meaning of the Lego Man? The Lego Man has been here for ages. Have you only just noticed him? The Lego Man is supposed to be me. He was given to me as a gift by one of my nieces, and he's meant to be me with a perfume bottle. Obviously. There is no other meaning other than that, that he's meant to be a little bit of fun something for you to look for. Yes. Okay. Not quite sure what to make of that, and not the most inspiring octet. Let's pop that on here. Ricardo says, the naming of each fragrance almost feels like a bit of a setup. You're expecting one thing based on the name, but experience something very, very different. And it's fine if that, if that kind of works, if after a while you go, actually, I can see what they've done here. But I'm not sure it does work. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. We will take a 2-minute break to let YouTube do its thing. And then, as I say, we will come back with something that is celebrating a very, very big anniversary indeed. But until then, goodbye and thanks for watching.